You are now listening to the Motown Sports Talk podcast. Here's your hosts, Jordan and Dalton.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today is November 4th, 2020, and it has been a rough week, to say the least. This was a very rough loss, and it has pretty much divided the fan base in half. There are a lot of people who are just completely jumping off ship, thinking we should fire everyone, blow up the team, blah, blah, blah. And then there's obviously the other half who are thinking optimistically, such as myself, who think that we are still 3-4. There's still 9 weeks of football left. There's a lot that can happen in that time. Again, there's a lot of negative that we can get into, and there was a lot of negative from that game that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I know Dalton has a lot to say, and we're going to let him speak. But I want to talk about why I'm still optimistic, because I know, and we're going to get more into it, but I know Trey Flowers is going on IR. Kenny Galladay is hurt, and he's week to week, possibly going on IR too, depending on how worse his injury gets. But we have Everson Griffin coming in this week. We can bring up Quentin Cephas, who has been a healthy scratch a few weeks, and the few plays that he has played, he does look pretty good, in my opinion. I know he hasn't really gotten a lot of time, especially without preseason stuff like that. So I think it'll be good to give him a few more snaps and be able to see what he can do. And with the next few games, we're all playing below 500 teams. We're all playing teams with a losing record over the next 4 weeks. And then we have the Bears after that, who still, again, we don't even know what's going on in Chicago. Yeah, they're 5-3, but they might be switching quarterbacks. There is a lot of problems with their team as well. So I'm still optimistic until we are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I will remain optimistic, and I think this team just has too much talent. But I know we have a big problem, and it's mostly coaching, and we are very predictable. And I feel like this has been the Lions' Achilles for a long time. We are very predictable, both on offense and defense. We looked to get better last year with Darrell Bevel on offense, but it seems this year, I don't know if he's just being more casual or what's going on, but there just seems to be a step back. So Dalton, like I said, I know you've got a lot to say. What are your initial takeaways from the game this last week?
Oh, my initial takeaways, the fans don't want to hear that. Jordan, let's just say we weren't together watching the game, but his phone got a lot of messages. The coaching staff just straight sucks.
Yes.
Patricia is terrible. Corey Underlin is not a defensive coordinator. There's multiple plays in that game where we only had 10 players on the field. That's terrible coaching. How do you not recognize that? How do you let it... I can understand. Maybe once. But multiple times it happens in one game? How? How does that happen?
Exactly. And
Patricia
trying to rotate too many players out, swap schemes out a lot. He's just trying to do too much. He's trying to outsmart the other person, I think, too much. And it
outsmarts ourselves. And the other team takes advantage of us not knowing what the heck we're doing out there.
Exactly, yeah. I just heard a coach today. I can't remember where I heard it, or just maybe this weekend, but they're saying sometimes you have to look at what you're presenting your team, whether it's on offense or defense, and just say, am I asking too much of these guys? Is this too complicated? Do I need to dumb it down? As bad as that sounds for some players, sometimes things just need to be simplified in order for the group to be able to succeed as a unit, as a group, instead of individually. You can have amazing pieces and just extreme talent, which I think we do. I think we have way too much talent on this team to be failing. I just think we are not executing the plays well, and I think we're being way too predictable. I'm so tired of seeing run, pass on 3rd and long, which I know Stafford completed almost all of his 3rd and long. Not all of them, obviously. I don't have the exact stat. I should pull it up, but I know he completed more than half of his 3rd and longs, but we should not be in those situations. I understand. I don't know. I understand that they're trying to be a two-dimensional team. They're trying to be a run and pass. They don't want to just be a pass team. But sometimes, I mean, if that's what's working and if that's what wins you games, then
they need to go away from AP.
Yes, I mean, I agree.
Every game, his yards per game has gone down. Last game, it was like 1.3.
Mm-hmm.
They need to stop running him.
It looks just like the LeGarrette Blount project, where we brought him in. Every time he was in, it was just a straight run up right into a brick wall for maybe 2 yards at most, honestly.
We need to give Carrion and Swift carries. And honestly, just sit Peterson.
Yeah, we signed Jonathan Williams too recently and let go of Bo Scarborough. So basically, as of right now, I think he's still waiting to clear waivers, but I haven't seen anything on him signing with any other teams as of this moment. So Bo Scarborough, we released. Hopefully, he could still be on the practice squad, but he's another player that I think when he got some time last year, he looked really, really good. And it's sad that we let Ty Johnson go as well. He's another player that could have gotten some play, but we just had too many running backs. I think one of the reasons this is just speculation that I think Adrian Peterson is getting so many carries is if you look what happened back in New Orleans when he was extremely frustrated at Sean Payton because he wasn't getting enough time or enough carries. I think that might just be one of the reasons the coaches are feeding his ego so he doesn't get pissed off with the staff or throw like a locker room tantrum or something like that. They're just trying to give him enough plays so that he still seems
But
happy.
at this point, he's hurting the team more than he is helping. And I
Exactly.
don't care what. If he throws that, release him.
Hmm.
His contract's incentives.
Yeah, it's
That was
mostly
most of
offensively.
yeah. So release him if he's gonna do that. You are paid to win. You are paid to put out the best team that you can. If he's not a part of that, then don't play him. I'm sick and tired of just our offense. Our offense just looks terrible.
Yes, and another problem that was a big issue this last Sunday that can be attributed to the coaching staff as well is the discipline and how many 3rd down, 4th down penalties that we had that basically
Not
I
even just that, all season long, there has
yeah,
just been stupid, unsportsmanlike conduct play or penalties, or just stupid stuff that should not happen.
exactly, that Danny Shelton on what was it, 3rd down that he sacked him, would have put him out of field goal range, would have made a punt, it would have been coming back to us. That I think we were still tied or they were just ahead by a touchdown at that point, I can't
Yeah,
remember exactly. So that was another point that we could have had a chance to come back into the game, and that then they went down and scored again, so then we're down, I think, 2 scores at that point, so
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it just this entire season, Jamie Collins, the first game of the season, literally last week, Danny Amendola getting the unsportsmanlike conduct and pushing the winning field goal back. Like it
Mhm.
just keeps happening, and that's falls on the coaching staff. You need to have more discipline on your players to be like, guys, we are shooting ourselves in the foot by
Yeah.
having that kind of crap happen. We need to stop it.
Mhm.
But
Like you
no,
said.
Patricia's not. He's not disciplined. Uh I am 100% like I wanted Patricia gone. After I wanted him fired in the bye week. He won these last 2 games. I still wasn't the biggest fan of Patricia. I'm still not, and I probably will never be. I want Patricia gone. I want him fired. He's
I
not a good coach. Neither is Daryl Bevel. Neither is Corey Underland. They all need to be gone. I literally let's call Jim Caldwell and Terrell Austin's back. Like
They're not gonna wanna come back, especially after all the stuff that's happened, and, I mean, I agree, I'm not happy with Matt Patricia either. There clearly is an issue with this coaching staff. I have no idea what it is, and I think, again, it all comes down to the head coach. He's the one who, I'm assuming, organizes the entire schedule. He sets everything up, he plans everything, so it ultimately comes down to the head coach on how you're handling the team as a full and what precedent you're trying to set in the locker room and in meeting rooms and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I definitely think Matt Patricia is definitely an issue, but if you weren't going to fire him in the bye week, which would have been the time to do it because you would have been able to bring in an interim here head coach who could have had plenty of time. So at this point, you have to just let him finish out the season and see what happens. And again, we're still 3-4. You can look at teams like the Dallas Cowboys who are still 2-6 in the NFC.
then also Kelly Stafford saying that Ford Field was like dead, like the DJ was terrible, didn't even like do good enough
Yeah.
job. Like she wants to be the DJ at the next home game. Like that's terrible.
Mhm.
When you can make fan noise yourself and you can't even do that. Like
Well, it's not even that. There was only 500 fans allowed in the stadium, and it was only friends and family of
I
players
know
and
that, but
coaches. So
still the DJ can make crowd noise still.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm not blaming it on just the DJ. I think because like you said, we're 0 this season we're 0 4. We haven't won a single game at home, and I think that has to do with the fans. Because again, look at the 2 games that we won, and even in Arizona, I know there was a lot of Arizona fans, but if you look at the last 2 games in Jacksonville and Atlanta, there were just as many Lions fans as there were the opposing team. So it's like that definitely has a huge swing in the season, and it's so weird being just not having any fans. And obviously the friends and family aren't as grateful of being there because a normal fan, they pay for the tickets, they look forward to it, to whatever when they buy it, they look forward to going to the game. It's a big event for them, and they're excited to watch their team whether they're good or bad. It's a big event, especially for like families and stuff like that. But when you're already a friend or family of the game or the player and you're there going to games all the time, it's not as exciting and you're not going to be as cheerful of them, especially in a game like that. So yes, there is some blame on the DJ, but I think it's just the whole fan momentum and the energy in the stadium. You have to build your own energy. And like you saw with what's his name was Darius Leonard for the Colts on the sideline when he was just getting them jacked up. He had a lot of energy. You could just see that one player bringing that energy to the team. Like that is a big deal, and I think that's something we're lacking on this team as well. What after we shipped out?
He's an amazing player.
Mhm.
Indianapolis got one heck of a player out of him, and it's terrible.
That's what I'm saying. That whole defense is really, really good, and we've said it before. Defenses win championships, and
But that's okay. That's kind of bringing me back to the point I was going to make before. We are 3-4. The only good team we have beat was Arizona. Other than that, we have lost to all the good teams. We've beaten 2 bad teams. So yes, we have 4 games against teams that are on a losing record, and then a bad Chicago Bears team that we lost to the first time because we made Mitchell Trubisky look like an elite quarterback.
yeah,
So say we go on and win these 4 games. Maybe we win the 5. We are 8-4 at that point, and then we lose to all the good teams that we verse after that, because after that it's all Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Titans,
and then we end with the Vikings, so we could still go 9-7.
or we go 8-8, miss out on playoffs, and get a middle draft pick.
At that point, it's whatever. Yeah, I agree. Again, I don't know if we go 8-8, but there is also talk. I don't know if you've heard that they were obviously the expansion is going to be a 14 playoff teams with 7-7. They're also talking if they have to possibly expand a week or cut games or games can't be made up or so at some point. So they might just make it a 16 team playoff at that point. So then if they do that, we even have more of a chance if we're 8-8 or 9-7 to get into the playoffs. So again,
But then again,
I
no
know
matter
if we
what, you
make
make the playoffs, you're versing all the good teams. There's none of the bad teams in the playoffs, so we're just going to lose round 1 anyways.
again, I'm
We
just
cannot beat good teams.
I agree. It's been an issue since Jim Caldwell, and that's why I don't know why you thought about bringing Jim Caldwell because that was the main issue with him. We made the playoffs, so we were 9-7, 9-7, but we couldn't beat the good teams. We were again beat bad teams all the time, and we couldn't beat the teams that were either playoff teams or above 500, anything like that. So that is why Jim Caldwell was gone because he wasn't good enough. He wasn't the answer. So that's why we brought in Patricia, and it's the exact same product. So
It literally comes down to the coaching staff. We have the pieces, but the game plan is not good. The coaches do not make a good enough game plan for us to win. It comes down to the coaches.
yeah, I think sometimes it just gets off script and stuff like that happens. But either way, like I said, we're still 3-4, and the Packers lost to the Vikings, which we'll transition into. Um, this week we have the Vikings, who are now 2-5 after they beat the Packers, after Dalvin Cook dropped 4 touchdowns on that Packers defense, who
50
is
point fantasy week. Sorry for any of you that had to go against that.
yeah, is a pretty rough week for him in fantasy as well as
Oh, yeah, because I
last
also
week.
benched DK Metcalf, and he put up 40 on my bench.
Yeah, but either way, Dalvin Cook, huge game against the Packers defense, who really nobody knows because some games they show up and look elite, and then some games they just look like that, where they let somebody go for 4 straight touchdowns, basically. And they know,
But Delvin Cook's a great running back. If he could stay healthy, he's top 5 running back in the NFL, no matter what. And then you add in Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, which is going to be a star wide receiver in this league.
Mhm.
You give them a quarterback, and they're better than the Packers.
Yeah, I agree. Kirk Cousins is definitely not the answer, but either way, I definitely don't think I'm really too worried about them. I know I say that, but again, as long as we can hold Dalvin Cook, our run defense has looked good. I know we kind of sucked against Jonathan, or what's his name, Jordan Wilkins. Jordan Wilkins had 20 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown against us, and he averaged 4.5 yards. So we did just let up a huge rushing game against Jordan Wilkins, who everyone thought coming into the game, Jonathan Taylor was going to be the starting backs. Somehow, Jordan
Jonathan
Wilkins.
Taylor got hurt, though, too. Yep.
Oh,
He got injured and didn't play the rest of the game.
yeah, I didn't see anything about that. I just know he wasn't really out. Jordan Wilkins ended up scorching us for quite a few yards and a touchdown. But again, if we can just hold our gaps, which I think we looked good earlier in the game. We were holding both of them. I think they were only averaging a few
But
yards.
then our offense can't do crap, and the defense is tired.
Yeah, but the offense could not get off the field against that Indianapolis Colts defense. They were just too good. So the defense got tired and wore out, and they couldn't stop the run anymore. So I think that's what happened. I honestly think if Minnesota's defense is not good, they've lost a lot of players. They lost a lot of free agency, and they've lost a lot of defensive players to injury this year as well.
Or COVID, yeah.
Yep, or COVID, and they traded away Yannick Ngakoue already before he even played us. So we're lucky we didn't have to see him at all.
But he was having not a good season
Yeah,
in
but still,
Minnesota.
and you know our luck, he would have had a huge game against the Lions. It would have been his breakout game if we had to play him. So
And hopefully Everson Griffin, it's going to be his first game against Minnesota.
yes, it's going to be a big game for him, and that's another thing. Romeo Okwara is having a huge year, and I don't know if that's because they were just doubling Trey Flowers the whole time, so Okwara had a chance to get around, and that might change up a little bit now. Now that they know Okwara has been having a big year, and Griffin's a little bit older, not as fast as he was, and obviously the Vikings are probably practice against him all the time, so they know what he's good at, and knows what he likes to do. So that might be a little tough as well, but hopefully, like I said, it might be a big revenge game for Dallas trading him and him playing against his former team for cutting him as well. So hopefully it's a big bounce back game. We're gonna need it with Trey Flowers being out for at least 3 to 4 weeks.
It's a big hit to our defense.
Yeah, again, him and Okora have been pretty much the only like really big name players. I mean, Tracy Walker and Amani Warrior have both been stepped up too. They've had a really big role this year on defense as well. Jamie Collins has looked really good, except for when he got kicked out for headbutting the ref week 1. But other than that, he's looked really, really good. He's been a solid pickup for us, which
Danny Shelton, Nick Williams, they look good in the middle.
yes,
Deshaun Hands even looked good in the middle.
yeah, our defense is looking good. It's just again, if it comes down to execution and again, I just said this, I thought we looked good early in the game. We looked really good both on special teams and on defense. We just sucked on offense and we couldn't get off the field. And I think our defense just got too wore out because they were just running on us, wearing out the clock. The time of possession, 40 minutes to 20 for the Colts. Like it was just a ridiculous amount that the Lions defense was on the field. So if they can just stay healthy again, and now we have Everson Griffin taking the spot of Trey Flowers, and I believe Austin Bryant was active this week. I didn't. Oh well, John Pincini was on the defensive line, our 6th round pick. He looked really good, not really good, but he definitely played, and looked pretty decent as well. I mean, again, I know Jordan Wilkins kind of. So yeah, our defense is looking good. I think it's just coming down to scheme, and if they can play better and hopefully not be on the field as long as they were this next game.
Yeah, I mean, as long as our offense can actually move the ball down the field, and actually score, like we will be fine because our defense will get enough rest and they'll be able to be out there. It's that Daryl Bevel not knowing how to call an offense.
Yeah, he needs to come up with some more creative plays, some more. He only had like I don't know. I'll never forget last year when he played Green Bay when we were 3-4. Was it 3-3 or 3-4? And Monday Night Football, we came out. We started off with a flea flicker to Johnson. Then he came back to Stafford. He threw it deep. Was it to Jones or Galladay? I can't
I think it
remember.
was to Marvin Hall.
Yeah, it might have been Marvin Hall, but still he just threw that huge deep ball. That was the first play of the game, and it's like, why can't you just be more aggressive like that instead of AP run, third and long. Oh, now we have to throw again. Like, just be more creative like that. That was Daryl Bevel last year, and I don't understand why he can't be that same type of aggressiveness this year, that same type of creative at all. It's just so annoying.
I mean, even last year, Daryl Bevel made some questionable calls. I don't remember what game it was, but I had a Facebook memory pop up either yesterday or today talking about Daryl Bevel calling a like a third and long, trying to throw to a third string tight end for a touchdown, trying to score like a touchdown, 2-point conversion. And Kenny Galladay and like Marvin Jones and all of them were off the field, and Logan Thomas, I think, was the third string tight end, was out there, and that's who we were trying to throw it to. And they're like, yeah, great play calling. But then it's also like, but he is also the same one that decided to throw the ball at the goal line instead of running it with Marshawn Lynch.
I'm still confident until we're mathematically eliminated. Even though it's a rough week, we've got an easy 4-game stretch ahead of us. I mean, I wouldn't say easy, but we're playing all under 500 teams. And then we have the Bears, who I guess, again, they might be under 500 by the time we play them. They're kind of got a lot of question marks on their team as well. So
I'm not getting my hopes up.
I'm not saying I'm getting my hopes up. I'm not saying we're going to win the Super Bowl.
No, I'm not even getting my hopes up that we're going to beat Minnesota this week. I don't like being this Lions fan, but I'm over Patricia. I'm over Bob Quinn. I'm over all of them. Sheila Ford needs to do something different. She needs to not do what her parents did. We have wasted Reggie Bush, jeez. We have wasted Barry Sanders' career, Calvin Johnson's career, and Matthew Stafford's career.
Yeah.
2 of those are for sure Hall of Famers. Obviously, Barry's already in the Hall of Fame. Calvin's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. Stafford is an iffy. But that's 2 Hall of Famers and maybe a third Hall of Famer that we completely wasted their careers on because of bad, I will say it, bad ownership.
That's the only consistent thing that's been here throughout our entire lives. We've had different coaches, different GMs, different players, everything come through, and the one consistent's been the ownership. And it's always been the same result. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to remain optimistic till we are mathematically eliminated, unless we win the next or lose the next 4 to 5, 6 games straight. Then
the bad thing is right now, if we were in the NFC East, we would be in first place at 3-4.
Yeah, but then there's also teams like the NFC West where they're all like 5, 6 win teams and
all above 500.
Yeah, so just be thankful we're not in that division either, because
one thing I will say is Bob Quinn does not like giving up draft picks to get players. But when your team is 3-4 right now and you need some kind of change, you have to make a serious change. You have to do something to change the team. You have to do something to make this team better.
The trade deadline ended yesterday. Dead and gone. Nothing happened. We didn't trade for anyone. And there was really no big trades at the end of the trade deadline. So looks like this is going to be our roster for the rest of the year. We did try out Mohamed Sanu. I heard he did work out for us. He is a free agent wide receiver. So it is possible that he could be. I mean, he is another tall body who could come and fill in possibly for Galladay. He's obviously not a Galladay type of player, and there's obviously a reason he's still a free agent. Otherwise, he probably would have been signed. But he's another tall wide receiver who could come in and maybe look for some end zone looks, something like that possibility. But I think it was 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, he worked out for us. So again, he might still be signed this week. I'm not sure, but I doubt it if it hasn't. Nothing's been announced at this point. So all right, from one optimistic and one sad Lions fan to the next, we hope we get a big dub this week, and I guarantee we'll see what happens with the fan base, because it seems like whether they win, it's playoffs and Super Bowl run and blah blah blah, and then the next week when we lose, it's we're the worst team, fire sell everyone. So if we win and beat Minnesota, if we blow them out, how are you going to feel next week? We win 50.
They're a bad team.
If we win 51-7, that's what you're going to say after they just dropped. The Packers were expected to go to the Super Bowl, and the Vikings just dropped 4 touchdowns from one player who everyone knew it was going to Dalvin Cook every single play. Everyone knew it was going right to him, and they still couldn't stop it.
Like you said when we were talking about the Packers, is their defense.
Yeah.
Sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't.
I guess. I don't know. So I guess
even the bad teams have good players.
So what's your prediction for the week?
A prediction for a win or a loss? Oof. Depends on what team goes out there. Because if it's the team that showed up against the Colts, we're getting our butts kicked. Minnesota's putting 100 on us, and Dalvin Cook's going to have another 40-point fantasy week. But if we come out there and look somewhat like we did against Jacksonville or Atlanta, we have a chance, and we could possibly win. But it also depends on our offense and how Darrell Bevel calls the freaking game. I'm tired of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I liked the signing at first. I liked him the first couple weeks, but he's just gotten worse and worse week in and week out. Swift ran for over 100 yards and then barely gets to run the ball anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's mainly only in on passing plays. Shoot, if we got to keep doing that with Jamal Agnew or something, little run plays like that, you do that. And then you start faking motions, so then they're biting on the motion, and then boom, hit them over the top. Like, it's that simple. I don't know why Darrell Bevel cannot call an offense. It's not that hard.
He used to have Russell Wilson as a quarterback, but he can't design any type of creative plays like that for us.
Swift, carry on. Like, they have the speed. Run them to the outside. Let them make a play. Like, let them juke somebody. Let them somebody. Like, Peterson's the only one that can run up the middle. Peterson's too slow to run on the outside. So let Swift and carry on run on the outside and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we got Quentin Cephas added to the offense, and we got Jonathan Williams being added, and then we got Everson Griffin being added on defense. So we'll see what we can do this week.
What's your prediction?
I say win. Again, I'm an optimistic fan. I think we are in Minnesota. There's probably going to be a lot of Vikings fans there, but Minnesota's not that far. We might have a lot of traveling Lions fans going to see since they can't go to home games. So again, if we can have that fan momentum and if we can play, if our offense can perform and our defense can step up against Dalvin Cook, I think we can get a win.
It's going to be a lot harder than you think locking down Cook.
I know. I ain't saying it's going to be easy. I just saying if we're gap disciplined, if our guys can stay in their lane and know where they have to go, which I think they've improved a lot over, again, we talked about this earlier in the season or a couple podcasts ago where like the first few seasons, we have a very, very young defense, and I think they're all still trying to learn and gel together. And after that first 4 weeks, after the bye week, they've looked much better. They look like they're playing well together as a team. They know how to communicate better, and I just think it's looking better all around. And again, like we've said 2 to 3 times already, we looked good early in the game. We were stopping both Jonathan Taylor and Jordan Wilkins early in the game. And Phillip Rivers, he was, after a while, those short flat routes over the middle just kept killing us, and eventually our defense just got so wore out after being on the field forever that they just got ran all over.
Yeah.
But all right, so I predict a win. You
depend on what team
comes out there. Predicts a loss, basically. So all right, I guess that's gonna do it for us. I want to thank everyone for listening. See you again next time.